something happened the other day, and I just wanted to take a little bit of family time and be honest. So, Zach Ford, who helps with my social media, if you've listened to this show for more than 11 seconds, you know that I was born in the wrong century. I don't really understand how all the internets work. And so he takes clips from this show and cuts them up and edits them and then puts them up on social media platforms. And he posted one, and it was me telling people, hey, if you tell your kid that you make me mad or you make me angry or you make me frustrated, you're giving that kid a burden that they are not strong enough to carry. And I went on to say in that little media clip, it's from this show, that I often have to circle back to my son. I often have to circle back to my daughter and say, hey, I told you earlier, you're really frustrating me. You're really making me mad. You're not. You don't have that kind of power. I chose to be frustrated. I chose to be mad. And I'm sorry that I put that burden on you. The number of people who wrote me personally or who wrote in the comment section, now I trust you because you talked about how you screw this up. You're not just here on this show talking down at us or talking at us, but you're more talking with us. And if you're willing to admit on this show that this happens in your home, then we're willing to listen. And that got me thinking, I tell you what, the last couple of weeks, on the gang who work on this show, it's been a mess. Everybody's going through a lot. And I'm going through a lot. And so it occurred to me that that maybe by the way I set the show up, right? People call in and they ask, hey, what should I do next? Whether it's a mental health issue or it's a marriage issue, or I don't know what to do with my kids. And I walk alongside people. There's this idea that once you arrive at a certain amount of knowledge or life experience, everything's just perfect. Everything just works itself out. And that's not true. And in fact, I think it can be harder because I should have all the answers to stuff, and then I end up saying something stupid. Or I should know how to have the right conversation with my wife, and I don't. I just avoid it because I don't want to have it. I'm just tired or whatever. And so I talked with Kelly this morning. I just wanted to, I don't know, have a little family time and just kind of be honest. For the folks working on the Dr. John Delony show who are here providing hope and all these answers for everybody, we've all been going through it. And so, folks back there in the booth, what's been going on in y'all's life?
I'll start.
I'm Kelly, and
Hi, I'm Kelly, yes.
You're not an alcoholic?
Not yet. No, actually, I don't drink that much, thankfully, because this past couple weeks. Everybody knows because you've mentioned it on the show. I lost my mom last week, and I have a special needs child who got an infection in the bone in her foot, and she ended up in the hospital. So she was in the hospital when we found out my mom died. So, all things at once. I have a son that's failing 2 classes currently in high school, and I, like you the other day, I let loose on him about it, and then the next day had to come back and say, I screwed that up. I'm really sorry. I'm going to help you instead of, yelling at you. And, my husband has some medical issues right now that's causing some big problems in our marriage.
Yeah.
And it's just been a lot.
One of those, yeah.
Yeah. It just, it kind of feels like when it rains, it pours. Yep. So it's been a lot lately.
Then when it pours, it floods. Then when it floods.
Yeah. I go under.
Yeah.
And so that's what it feels like lately.
Normally, my normal bent is to just, we've hung out for a million times in the past couple of years, is to start like, and I won't do that. I'll just say, I'm sorry. That sucks. And you're my friend, and I'm sorry. That sucks. Who else? What else is going on back there?
Yeah, I'll go. Been a pretty crappy year. Let's see. My wife, Katie, tore her ACL in May. Got fired from her job right before she had surgery.
Oh, man.
And I got hit by an 18-wheeler pretty recently. Totaled my car.
Yes.
And then Katie got COVID last week, so we had to miss the Christmas party. And yesterday, she lost her job again.
Wow.
Her new job. And so we just been going through it, man. Just horrible year. And we're in that place where it doesn't feel like there's hope right now.
Yeah.
Just to be real about it.
The lights out.
Yeah. I mean, we just got our teeth knocked in, and we're
you just picked all your teeth off the ground and put them in, and then they got kicked out.
That's
again.
right. I have full dentures right now.
Exactly. And I'm not gonna lie, they don't fit well. Right? They're not great dentures, man. Dang.
Yeah.
Well, as your friend and as the leader of my band, I'm sorry, man.
Thank you.
Like, to see you walk in every day, just keep putting it in and putting it in and putting it in, even though I know, like, behind the scenes, things are on fire, man. I'm sorry.
Appreciate that.
Hey, John.
Hey, love.
Yeah, so it's been quite a year, more specifically, quite a holiday season for us.
Yeah. And for everybody who doesn't know, that was Ben Hill, who runs the board, and this is Sarah, who, God help her, is the final editor of the show, and she makes sure this show, the disaster that it is in reality, looks different and sounds different when it finally gets out. But yeah, it's been a tough holiday season, huh?
Yeah, it's been a big one. A week before Thanksgiving, my great-grandmother passed away, and we knew it was coming. She was 98 years old, but she passed, and she was just everything and wonderful to me, and definitely showed me what unconditional love was, and I didn't know what that was until it was with her. Yeah. And then 3 days later, my childhood hero took his own life, and it just kind of rocked everything, and it was a battle of how do I compartmentalize grieving my grandmother and then grieving this hero that needed help. And yeah, it's just been kind of nuts just this holiday season, and then with all of our team going through stuff, it's been tough.
Well, I'm sorry. I hate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're such a gift to so many millions of people, but the work you do, and I'm sorry.
Thank you. Well, you've been such a blessing to us too, because the results of those deaths resulted in me having panic attacks about dying too soon, and being able to come to you for help in that and be honest with you. You've been such a gift to me as well. So thank you.
Yeah, you were actually Susan from North Dakota the other day on the show. I'm just kidding. You weren't. You weren't. Man. Anybody else having a rip-roaring time back there? I don't know if it's okay to ask, we can edit this out, but how's your daughter? For those who don't know, Nate, who runs all the YouTube video stuff, was diagnosed with cancer. How's she doing?
Yeah. On the cancer front, it's been good news, actually.
Oh, that's fantastic.
She was given only a 25% chance of it not coming back. And so far, she has been in that odds where it has not come back, and she hasn't had to go through chemo or anything like that. So we're just kind of keeping our fingers crossed. She's still at like about 25. Now her odds have improved to now there's only about a 25% chance of it coming back. So her odds have continuously gotten better. Yeah, it's been really good. She has her last St. Jude's appointment next month. So it's been one little bright spot of good news.
Yeah.
For us, though, it's been a hard season we have 4 kids. And so not only the challenges of her cancer, but also having 4 littles. And we don't have much family support at all. Yeah. And we are very alone. Yeah. And my wife and I's lives are very different. She's a stay-at-home mom. And so the disparity of what our lives are, we can't relate to each other much these days. Yep. And it's really lonely and isolating. Yeah. Especially for her being at home. That's really hard. And has put a lot of strain on just us and our relationship. And it's been a rough season, rough year.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, man. Anybody else?
Yeah, for me, I feel like my mental health has just taken a huge hit this winter. Just like I deal with seasonal affective disorder, like we talked in the show a few episodes back, like really bad, especially this time of year. And so for me, being in that low and then hearing all these things happening to my friends, it's hard for me because I take that on when I know I shouldn't. And then going home, it's like, then I find I sometimes will take it out on my husband and I don't mean to. So he's actually been coming with me to my like therapy sessions lately because I'm like, I don't want to have that happen. Like, I don't want to bring that on him. And so for us, we've kind of been not struggling too much in the sense of that, but just like making sure that this isn't become like a forever thing where in these seasons where I'm going through this mental health issues, I'm not adding him into the mix.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for joining our team and holding us all up while we're falling apart or trying to get these shows out. And I get on a personal note, just this past year has been the wildest year of my professional life, with a book coming out and all the metrics. It's just, it's like a cliche. It is. It couldn't be more of a cliche. The metrics, like a #1 best-selling book, and it sold really well, and then we're in sold-out auditoriums all across the country doing live events, and then all of a sudden you look up and, like Nate just mentioned, I have a very different life than my wife does, and she isn't used to people coming up to us in the airport or checking to see what clothes she's wearing out at at the airport and judging that with their preconception of who she was, and then I jumped right into writing a new book and there's just a season of some hard conversations we have to have and some grieving about this time of our life was over and this is going to be the new part of our life, and I wouldn't change it for the world. It's been an amazing ride, and we've been able to help a whole bunch of people, and but man, it's wreaked havoc at home. And not to mention my whoop strap here, my HRV this morning, this is just me being honest, was 14. I got a message from the whoop strap. Do not exercise today. It told me you have to stop or your body's about to shut you down. And I don't like to stop. I left work early yesterday. I just went home and went to bed. And that's not just like because I don't feel good. It's because I've completely run myself into the ground. And I know my kids wear that. I know my wife wears that. And I know I spend hour upon hour preaching to you all not to do that. And here I've turned around and I've done it. And so here's why this wasn't just for to share in our misery. This is just to let y'all know we're people too. And I don't ever want you sitting at home to think, man, it must be nice to have my life so perfect and all together and everything great. Because there is no there. There's no place where you can get where somebody doesn't pass away that you love. There's never going to be a place that you get when someone you care about doesn't lose their job or your marriage goes through a season when you're like, I don't know who you are anymore. There's never going to be a moment when your kids don't do something and you're like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? That is life. And ultimately, if I could pass along one thing that I appreciate about you guys is everybody's there for each other. And everybody calls each other and says, hey, I need to check in. You got a minute to talk. Hey, I'm going to be late tomorrow. I'm not coming in tomorrow. I got you. And it all comes back to that one idea that you got to have people in your life. Not if, but when things go sideways, you got to have people. And if you're blessed to work with people like I'm blessed to work with and call my friends and my community, that's awesome. And if you're not, that sucks, but you still got to go find those people. And I know because you send me your notes and you write me letters and I talk to you personally. I know there's a lot of people out there struggling, going through hard stuff. I just want you to know we're right there with you and you're not alone. I also believe with all my heart, I wouldn't do the show, that there's hope around every corner. We just got to lock arms with the people in our lives and we got to walk forward, sometimes in the dark, sometimes in only they can see, and make sure we're walking towards that hope. So I love you guys. Love you all. And for those of y'all who are listening, I love you guys too. We're all in this together. Have the hard conversation you need to have. Start there.